Welcome to Accelerator. My name is Rob, and this is a channel where I'm going to go over techniques in Excel that is going to teach you how to do anything you want to know. So, if you have any questions you want to send my way so we can make a video about it, that's cool. Otherwise, I'm just going to go over stuff that has come up, and this first example is actually something that came up recently in my work where I had values that I wanted to return the top 3 values, and the problem was I was having duplicates show up. So let's go over what I'm talking about here. This is a basic mock-up of what I was going through, where I've got zones and values that were summed up for each one of those zones. Now I want to get the top 3 results for the values. So I use a large function, pretty basic. Lock down the values with hitting F4, so it's an absolute reference, and the K that I'm looking for, a relative reference, number 1. So if I hit Control Enter to stay in the same cell that I was in, hold Shift and down arrow, and then hit Control D, that's going to fill in my formula for the rest of those cells, giving me the top 1, 2, and 3 values over here. Now what I want to do is return the zones, but if I just did another large function, hit F4, number 1, 2, and 3, the problem is, oh wait, sorry, yeah, had the wrong column selected there. I want to look at, actually, to illustrate this, let's do index, because we're going to be using index later anyway. Index, what we want to return is the zones. I'm going to say where match large, and then the top 1, and our lookup array is going to be the values. Exact match for 0. Hit enter. Okay, that's better. So what that's going to do is it's going to give us the correct answer for number 1, but it's going to give us the repeat answer for number 2, because what it does is it looks through here and it finds 4, and as soon as it finds 4, it's done. It's not going to go and find the second 4, which is what we're looking for. We want the first one be in zone 14, the second highest be in zone 16, and the third be in zone 19. So as I said, I ran into this issue at work, and I came up with this really convoluted formula that had frequencies and countifs and all this kind of stuff in it. But I came up with a more elegant solution that I'm going to share with you guys right now. So what we're going to start off with is, just like in the last one, we're going to start off with index. And what we're going to index is what we inevitably want to return, which is the zones. So now we're going to say small if, and what we're going to do, and I'll break this down a little bit later, but right now we're just going to kind of forge through and get the formula written. If the values here are equal to the value that we're doing in this row that we're working in, then I'm going to say row. And basically with these rows, all I'm doing is getting an array that is going to have numbers 1 through 10, or numbers 1 through however many cells are in the range that I'm working with. And as I said, I will go over this a little bit more in depth, but we're just going to get this written real quick. And then that's good. And then we move on to our K for the small function. Now we want to return the smallest, the first smallest, the second smallest, and the third smallest. Well, not really in that order, but basically this is going to count, we're going to use a count if, and that's going to be an expanding range that will allow us to see if there are any duplicates. And if there are duplicates, it'll give us the next one, which is what we're going for here. So count if, we're going to go E2, hit Shift colon, it'll fill that part in for us, comma, back to E2 again, close that out, but we do want this to be an expanding range. So go back to that first E2 and hit F4 to lock it down. Now, close that out. And as I mentioned before, we are working with an array formula here, so Control-Shift-Enter when you're putting it in, and copy that down, and we're getting exactly what we're looking for. Number 1, zone 14. Number 2, the tide value, zone 16, and then 19. So let's go to the first one and see what's exactly going on here. So in this section where we're saying if the values are equal to the value that we were looking at in that specific row, so it gives us this array is equal to this 4. It's going to give us a lot of trues and falses. Now here we're going back to where the rows I was talking about to give us that 1 through 10 array. Rows 2 through 11, that's just in reference to me selecting this range here. Minus the first row in that is going to give us, see, we've got 2 through 11 here. The first row is a number 2, so that subtracted out from all those values is going to give us 0 through 9. I don't want to start at 0, I want to start at 1. So I add 1 back to all those values in that array. Now we've got 1 through 10, and basically all those trues and falses that we had before, anything that's false is going to stay false, anything that's true is going to return the number in this array. So here we have it, and we've got false, false, false 4, false 6, false, false, false. And that 4 and 6, what that's in reference to is the position within this range where we've got a match for the number that we were looking for, this 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6 is that second one. But here's where our expanding range comes in. We are working with the first one, so we want to return a 1. So this COUNTIF is going to return a 1. It's the first one that we want to return. So our index returns the 14 that we were looking for. And we're going to see in this next one how that differs. Everything else is going to be the same. We've got our trues and falses matching up with our 1 through 10 array here. That's going to give us a 4 and a 6, just the same as the last time. The difference being this COUNTIF. Now it was E2 to E2 and evaluating E2. Now it's E2 to E3. That's why we lock that first E2. And COUNTIF there's 4. So this is going to say there's 2 4s. So it's going to return the second one in this array of numbers. So instead of 4, it's going to give us the 6, indexing the 6th position will give us zone 16. Exactly what we were looking for. So, I hope this has been a great introductory video for this channel. I'm going to be putting out a lot more videos as time goes on. If you have any questions or want to see anything in a specific video, feel free to leave comments in the comment section and I will get to them as soon as possible. I love helping people out with the problems that they have, so hopefully if you do have an issue, we'll be able to get it solved for you. Thanks.